Look at that. It's already drifting. Already drifting. Already drifting. Look at that. It's just drifting right and left. Wow. Crash. Look, still drifting. Still drifting. Now rolling. Blew a tire. Blew a tire. All right, welcome back. So I've already downloaded the data logs from today. Wanted to bring you guys in. I'm doing these videos with just the logs for those that don't want to see the logs, that know probably more than I do on these logs, but I'm just trying to show what I've learned. So today we did basically 3 runs. First run was successful. Second run we had some sort of cut, and then the third run. Now on the second run that has the cut, because there's a fail-safe, it'll drop the idle, it'll drop the trigger, our throttle input right here. We're gonna take a look at that. So what I want to do, this is our first run, here's our second run right here, and then this was our third run where we blew the tire. 149.8. We actually hit 152 amps, which is our maximum line down here where the mouse is. 149.8. I know we hit 152 amps in that run. That's probably when it went up into the wheel stand because I was pulling the trigger kind of hard. So you can see that we are getting the amps out of this thing, out of the Mamba Monster X8S. And I'm going to go back to the program that we're running in this ESC, because this is the original Mamba Monster X8S, and there's a new version out. And I keep telling people, even on the XLX2, there's a new version out. Don't put in the new version. The only time you want to put in that new version is if you're going to be bashing with that ESC, or you definitely want a safe ESC that's not going to catch on fire. Then download the program from Castle. But if you want any kind of true speed out of it, I suggest not downloading it. So we're going to do left click, then we're going to pick up this run right here. I'm just going to pick up where I drove back and the run. So here's the run right here, and you can see by this black line up here how we were steady and then all of a sudden it fell off. It's funny, over here you can see where I hit the trigger, let off, hit the trigger when I was driving it to me. I was trying to figure out what the heck is going on because I lost communication in here. Now our throttle input 1.785 because we recalibrated the controller. So let's see, in this run right here, you can see that I hit full trigger, but then we had a throttle cut. And it cut like very much into that run. And we were only at 74.7 amps, 74.6 amps. The maximum we hit on that run is a 74.7 amps. Ripple was a 130. Maximum ripple was 1.67. So we're still under the 2.0 on the ripple. I have a feeling that it's not the antenna. I pulled the antenna out, pulled the antenna tube off. The antenna's not cut, so it's not an antenna thing. I don't know if there's a signal or something there, but scrolling this over, nowhere did I have, because here's the ramp up. So I'm gonna keep looking at this throttle. We're gonna see if the throttle failed. 5.9, 1.6. See, it continually goes up slowly as I pull. See, there's no fall off anywhere. 1.7. And then I hit full trigger. Power out's only 36.3. There doesn't seem to be any kind of voltage issue. We're only at 32.1. Maximum's 33.1. We didn't have any big voltage drop. Because of 4S, what was the 4S? Yeah, 14.8 times 2. 14 is 28, 29, 30. But we're way up at 32. So it's not like we had, somebody was talking about a 10% voltage dip. And I was telling them my batteries are supporting them because I'm not falling below that 32 anywhere in this. Because I'm not pulling the trigger super hard, we're maintaining voltage right over here. So watch where the mouse is at. I'm going to scroll up this whole run. So right here, we started the run with 33.1, and our voltage drop only dropped, see, 33. We're starting our run, 32.8, still not bad. It's not even a 1% drop. 32.2. And then here was the big spike, 32.0. So we dropped 1 volt and 1% of what the battery is. That's nothing. And then, of course, you can see right here, trigger is at full, but the power is coming off. I start to let off the trigger because I realize it's not rolling, and you can see everything just dropped down. Everything's already shut off by this point. Right here, you can see it's already on the downward slope, but we're still full trigger, 1.785. See right there? And look, that's the peak of our run. And then we're still full trigger, and the power is just, everything's just falling off. And I still don't have a reason why, because I never let off the trigger, and it's still seeing full trigger. So, have no idea. The ESC saw something it didn't like. It definitely wasn't Ripple, because Ripple right there was only 1.08. So, somehow there's some sort of safety cut. So I'm gonna back out of these logs real quick. I'm gonna just minimize it. I want to go to power and make sure there's no cuts. Start, maximum power, reverse, basic. See, cut voltage, no cuts. I'm gonna just verify it. I'm gonna go ahead and check. So no cut. Best for racing with top quality discharge batteries. Do not use this setting. Use this setting with lipo packs, which that's what we're running. So we have the right thing. There's no cuts. Use when running a 8-cell LiPo pack. See, the cut would be at 24.0 volts. If we had voltage drop below that, it would automatically cut using an 8-cell LiPo, which that's what we have. You'd have to drop the 24 ohm. So it's definitely not a voltage cut. I don't know what the ESC saw. Definitely didn't see any kind of temps because I was looking at that too. Let's go over to advance. I think I'm going to end up performing the motor test on this thing. Just so, well, it's not censored, so I don't know. This motor's not going to help me. I would have to put in the 1717, make it censored, and then do the motor test. And then motor temp cutoff is disabled because we don't have any data from motor. So let's go back to our log. Oh, come on. Let's see. So what I'm going to do, let me turn on horsepower here. Even though horsepower isn't really going to matter, because it doesn't really know. We haven't done the motor test. Let's go to this 70 mile an hour run and see where I was with the trigger, because I'm really curious, because that one we got 70 miles an hour and I know I was past half trigger. I might even tap full trigger a couple of times. So there's our run right here. Look how long that run was. And look at throttle in. Throttle in is showing 1.918. What is full trigger? Advanced. Oh, so full trigger is 2.050. So when it cut, we weren't even full trigger. We were past neutral. So we were probably about half trigger when it cut. But this one, we got pretty close to full trigger. So that's probably 3/4 trigger on that 70 mile an hour run. And current 126.2 amps. There wasn't even a lot of amp draw on that 70 mile an hour run. Remember, I said I was going to pull it slow. So I was actually pulling it pretty slow. Temperature only got to 111 on that run for the ESC, so there's no reason for that to cut. We only used 73.8% of its power out. So that's about 3/4 trigger. BEC voltage stayed at 5.4. We have it set to 5.5. Ripple was kind of high, 1.93. So if I do gear up, I'm definitely going to have to add a cat pack. But you can see right here, we went ahead and dropped. We let off right there. And then we drove back over here. Let me see if I can spread this out a little more on this run. Look how long and steady that pull is. What is this one? There's a dip right there. So it's not my throttle. See, this run, look at the big cut that happened right there. We're going, going, going. And this one, remember I told you I felt a cut? Right there. What is that? Throttle cut. 1.4. So there was a throttle cut. Right there. When you spread it out, here's your throttle. Look at that big cut, and then it came back, and it was steady over. And that's a long way into the run, because we started the run down here. Look, we're going, 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 there was a blip in the throttle, and then it stayed at 1911, 1911. So there is something going on with the trigger. It's showing you right there. We can zoom in on that dip as well. Look at that big dip in the throttle. It dropped to idle. It lost signal and then ramped itself back in. Why is that? We know what's causing the cut. It's definitely in the trigger. So I'm going to probably stick this on the Futaba now, because I don't know if it's the batteries in the radio or the receiver, but something's unhappy and cut in the middle of my run. At that this is the 70 mile an hour run. So data does show a lot. It's showing where we fell off, what's going on. I felt it on the first run, but it wasn't as bad. That second run, it cut like bad. And then the third run, it cut, and then when it came into power, it actually popped up into a wheelie, and I started to back off the throttle, and then I heard the tire blow. When I was backing off the throttle, the front was actually setting down. The tire blew on the right rear. It caused it to go onto the left-hand side wheels, but I was able to come off the trigger, steer it, and control it without flipping the RC. If I would have stayed into power when that glue let go, because you saw the explosion, when it let go, it threw up the rear of the RC. And in that run, I was able to catch it, let off the trigger, and I steered into it, just to, you know, give the front end a chance to bring the right rear back down. So I would steer to the left is what I did. And then it settled down, and then I put the steering straight, so I just didn't roll it. And my dull rate, let me grab my radio. My dull rate is probably a quarter of the way up on the radio. So here's my steering dull rate right here, and you can see we're only using a quarter of it. It's a quarter of the way up, so it's limiting my steering. Because when you have a blowout or something like that, my first reaction was go full left. Wheels didn't turn full left, and that also saved me. If I had this dull rate cranked, this knob cranked all the way up, when I went full left, it would have barrel rolled. So having dull rate is very, very, very important. So remember, any kind of speed runs, set your dull rate way down. It makes your turns really wide, but it slows down when you're on your speed run to keep it straight. I tried it in the dirt with those other tires, and the Method RC wheels, and because the sidewalls are so soft and there was no traction, it was just trying to like steer with the rear tires. But there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and clear out these logs. We don't need them anymore. This data log, would you like to save it? No, I don't want to save it. I also wanted to show you the software. So the software I'm running is the V2.07. You can see current firmware. If you have the 2.13 software, go ahead and install the 2.07 software and see if you're getting more power out of your Mamba Monster X 8S. Just a little bit of advice. I feel that Castle has killed some of the power. So we're going to go ahead and clear out this data log, because that's a bunch of runs in there. There we go. And that's it. So check your data log when you have a problem like I did. I'm going to go ahead and throw this thing on the Futaba now. But like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you guys on my next video. Thanks for watching.